exposure after the Michael Cohen sentencing yesterday. But according to President Trump, Cohen is the sort of person who would say anything, even if it's a lie, to try to save his hide. President Trump broke his self-imposed silence yesterday on the Cohen sentencing on Twitter, and in an interview with Harris Faulkner today, the president insisting he did nothing wrong.
Let me tell you, I never directed him to do anything wrong. Whatever he did on his own. He's a lawyer. A lawyer who represents a client is supposed to do the right thing. That's why you pay them a lot of money, et cetera, et cetera.
President Trump also said that the payments made to Stormy Daniels and Karen McDougal were not illegal, despite what the Southern District of New York prosecutors said, or what Michael Cohen pleaded guilty to, or what media company AMI admitted it did.
If it were even a campaign contribution, it's totally legal. You look at stories one after another, they're all legal. The great lawyers that do that stuff are saying there's nothing illegal.
The president does get backup from a former member of the Federal Election Commission. In an op-ed in the Heritage Foundation's Daily Signal, Hans von Spakovsky wrote that the payments were a private transaction, not subject to campaign finance laws.
That had nothing to do with the campaign, weren't dependent on the campaign, and therefore there was no violation of federal law when these payments were made.
Spakovsky's argument centers on a statute that states campaign expenses do not include payments used to fulfill any commitment, obligation, or expense of a person that would exist irrespective of the candidate's election campaign. In other words, Spakovsky claims Daniels and McDougal likely would have come forward regardless of whether Donald Trump was running for president.
The whole question comes down to whether hush money payments made to these women, whether that's a campaign-related expense as opposed to a personal expense. And it's very clear from prior actions of the Justice Department and the Federal Election Commission that this is not a campaign-related expense.
President Trump told Fox News Cohen only pled guilty because prosecutors were trying to embarrass him.
What he did is he made a deal to embarrass me. In order to embarrass me, they cut his term down. Pretty terrible stuff.
And he played down Cohen's significance in the Trump organization, saying he only hired Cohen after Cohen supported his bid to build Trump World Tower in New York at a condominium committee meeting.
He did very low-level work.
Why did you need him?
He did more public relations than he did law. He was on a committee, and he was so responsive and so good. And I said, he's a nice guy. I shouldn't have done it.
And there may be another investigation looming. The Wall Street Journal reports today that federal prosecutors in New York City are looking into spending by the Trump inaugural committee. According to the Journal, the prosecutors want to know if some of that money was misspent and whether donors were giving a lot of money to try to buy influence with the incoming administration. Brett?
We'll unpack all of that on the panel. John, thanks. We're awaiting new information.